Welcome to the Linguistics Show, where we talk about life, love, and everything else. There's always something to talk about with this couple, so you never know what may come out of their mouth.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Linguistics Show. I'm Karal.
And this is Jason.
So today we're talking about gender roles.
Talk about it.
Okay, baby. So let's get to it and talk about it. Do you believe in gender roles?
Nope. Not at all.
Why not?
I don't know. Maybe I'm a little bit more progressive than most men are. Maybe my household, I know my household wasn't the most progressive household. I mean, my dad probably cooked 5 times my entire childhood, and each time was grilled cheese sandwiches. But maybe that's why. Maybe it's just that I grew up in an old school kind of household, and it's my thought process to be different than that, to be better than that, to improve upon what I've seen in my past. Or maybe it's just that I see myself as a relatively progressive guy. Like, I've never thought to myself, I don't want to be the type of person who cooks or cleans or does things like that because I'm a man, so I shouldn't be cooking, I shouldn't be cleaning or doing laundry or anything like that. I'm not sure why I actually look at it that way. I can't pinpoint it, but I definitely know that I don't believe in gender roles.
And like us having girls, I mean, in my opinion, since there are no sons, you have to maybe balance. Like, do you set an example of what a woman does versus what a man does, so in that way they can see like what their future husband or boyfriend should or should not be doing. I mean, that I think is a big part of it. Because if we had a son, would you feel the same way?
Well, yeah, because the point of the matter is it's not about being a man or a woman. It's about being an adult human. I think that, being on your own and living on your own for a certain amount of time before you get in any type of relationship with anybody, you establish whether you're capable of taking care of yourself. And I think it has a lot more to do with that than it does a gender role type of thing as far as around the house stuff. Now, if you're talking about inside of a relationship, then I think that's up to interpretation on each specific situation. But again, I've never been the type of person who was like, yeah, I'm not doing dishes, I'm not cooking food, I'm not doing laundry. Like, I was never that kind of guy. Never was. I also am the type of guy who've taught my girls how to work on cars. But, that's just one of those things. It's just like, I don't believe that being a man or a woman should keep you from the ability to do any kind of day-to-day activity.
Yeah, I feel you on that. And like for me, it's a balance, because I was raised to be this independent, do it by yourself kind of girl, teenager, and then a woman. It also I have to balance what I want my kids to see, because we do have all girls. And so like part of me does believe in gender roles to a certain extent, but then the larger part of me is like, that's old school, that's not really needed. But then I have to think, am I leaning to the gender role today? Am I leaning to the progressive, it's all equal kind of role? And like, that's hard for me sometimes. And I know that you may have seen that, because at times I'll do stuff that maybe a woman wouldn't do, such as change a light bulb or something around the house, because that to me is normal and okay. And then there are other times I'm like, Jason can't do it, such as me and the drill don't get along. And like, so I
reaching
definitely
anything on a top shelf. Yeah, that's when she calls me. She calls me to get things off the top shelf.
That's why I have my stools at various heights for that. You know that I got various height stools.
Short people problems.
But like for me, I really do struggle sometimes thinking, do I be this independent, do-it-yourself woman, or do I ask my husband for help? Because I know that I can do it if I try, or I can ask my husband, hey, Jason, can you do this for me? Because you can do it easier, you're knowledgeable, you're faster at doing it.
And see, that opens up a whole nother can of worms about how these women are being raised in the modern society, especially in our community, to be so independent that they're scared to ask for help. I'm your partner and your best friend, and you're scared to ask me for help to open a jar? Like, that's the type of we always talk about toxic masculinity in the black community in particular, but there's something to be said about raising women to be so independent that they won't ask for help when they clearly need it. That's toxic too.
And you're right, because we've been married for almost 18 years. And I don't know how many years in the beginning that I would resist with all of my being to ask for help. I would either ask my dad, which I know caused issues now that I look back on it. I should not have been asking my dad to help me when I have a whole husband. But I would do anything not to need your help. In that way, to me, it was us being equal, that if there are things I can't do, I figure it out. And then we're still a couple and a team. And so that's not how I think now, because I've had some revelations. But for a long time, when we first married, I wouldn't ask for help unless it was like desperate.
Well, while I don't believe in the concept of gender roles as it pertains to the man needs to do these type of things and the woman needs to do these type of things, I do believe in the concept of, that fierce independence keeping you from blocking it's basically blocking your blessings. That's the saying. You blocking your blessings. Like you said, you had a whole husband at home that could do these type of things for you.
And you're right. And I mean, like the way that I was raised with my dad, he wanted us to know how to do things like handy man, handy woman kind of stuff. Now, when it comes to cars, I had no clue how to change a tire, how to check oil, because I was never taught that. So that kind of stuff I learned from you. And even though I wasn't really interested, you offered to help me learn.
Not interested at all.
But for our kids, you have shown them how to do things like stuff under the hood, and you'll teach them how to change a tire. But like for me, like he always taught us how to do stuff like fix something in the house. And so I didn't think I needed to ask for help. But now that we've been married all these years, I can see that I was definitely wrong for not relying on you when you definitely could do those things for us and make us better. I'm sorry, baby.
Well, I mean, like with maturity comes the ability to, pick and choose, what is right and wrong. You see what's right and wrong, and you can clearly see, oh yeah, if I did that in the past, that was not correct. Oh yeah, maybe I did make the right decision there, that sort of thing. So as it pertains to something like that, like obviously, I mean, I didn't have sisters growing up, so I didn't know what it was like to be around girls that often, other than school and in social settings. So, I mean, just little simple things, like I was raised to be a gentleman, and I still do that sort of stuff. I still open doors for people. I still hold the door for women. I still do that sort of thing. I make sure you all eat first every night. Like I do that sort of thing every time, but I don't believe in gender roles. So I don't know, that is a bit of a conflict for like a modern man who is raised right, so to speak. That is a bit of a conflict that we have. And I wonder, talking to some of my single friends, and I wonder about them sometimes, like how hard is it to be the type of dude who was raised right, and it's like you want to open the door for your girl, you want to hold the door for her, you want to pay for the meal, you want to, do those type of things, but then, she's so fiercely independent that she acts like she don't want that from you. So, but if you don't do that, then you're being a jerk. So it's like, it is kind of a difficult landscape for men to navigate through that sort of thing. And I guess like that's one of the other reasons why I've always just tried to be so progressive, is just I treat everybody like equals, but by the same token, I was raised right, and so I refuse to let you carry a big heavy something or other in the house if I'm available to do it. Like I tell my daughters all the time, you better not open that door if I'm sitting right here. So to your point, yes, I do want my daughters to understand what a real man is supposed to do. But then again, is that what a real man is supposed to do? Is that the question we're asking to begin with? What is a real man supposed to do? What's a real woman supposed to do? Like really?
And you're right. It's like an oxymoron. It's paradoxical. Probably have the wrong context of the word, but I don't care. But like you get what I'm...
Paradoxical. No, you did have the right context for the word,
but
Carol.
You get what I'm saying. No, but it's definitely hard, because there are times that I'm like, even now, I can do it by myself. Now, I don't do it that often. And like with our girls, I encourage them to learn how to do things such as cooking, cleaning, doing dishes, doing laundry, like that kind of stuff. To me is universal. And if we had a son, he'd be doing the same thing. He'll be doing his laundry, cooking, cleaning up. But then
don't nobody want to get outside and help me with these leaves.
I was going to get to that
Don't nobody want to get outside and push this lawnmower, though.
I was going to get to that now.
Don't nobody want to get outside and wash these cars, though.
You got to give me credit, because at the old house, now that was a hard landscape, so I give you lots of kudos for, 9 years of living there.
You gave me lots of who now?
Kudos.
Wait, what?
Kudos.
What?
Thanks.
Kudos.
I give you,
the word to the day is kudos.
I'm giving you lots of big ups and props and all that kind of stuff. Because like you just said, raking, yard work. I can do yard work to a certain extent, and I will get out there.
She'll get them little hedge clippers out and give our little bush outside the house a little flat top, and then go right back in the house.
Yeah, I mean, I trim hedges, I pick up weeds, but when it comes to actually lawn mowing, I'm not going to do that. I tried one time at the old house, and that was a hill, as we know. Well, they don't know that who are listening, but we all know it's a hill. And that joint was hard. And so I finished the front yard. I didn't quit, but the backyard was not going to happen. So I gave you like major thanks in my head, and maybe not out loud.
No, not out loud. In your head. But okay. I appreciate you acknowledging that you did give me thanks in your head. So at least you thought about it.
Yeah, I think about you a lot. I just don't always express my gratitude.
Lord help me. Gender roles.
I know.
And see, and that's where it gets confusing, right? When you teach your girls to be so fiercely independent and don't need a man and everything like that. Now look. Yeah. You see how it affects you? And this is someone who's mature and intelligent and caring and thoughtful and sensitive, and she struggles with this sort of stuff. So think about how you're raising your kids. Think about the type of things that we expose them to and the type of things that we expect from them. Because you don't know how that's going to affect them as adults.
And you're right about that, because I would have never thought like the way that I was raised and grew up. To me, it was okay. I mean, there were things I knew were kind of off, like, why does my dad not do this? Why does he not do that? And the same for my mother. But now that I am a parent and a wife, I'm like, I could have done better. And so that's why I do proactively do things in the yard to a certain extent. So like, I will clip those hedges, I will pick those weeds, if I will help a little bit, like with the leaves, a tiny bit. I'm not gonna.
She'll hold the bag for me while I put the leaves in the bag that I done raked for the last 4 hours.
That's helping out.
Hey, it's something. I agree. It's something.
Because there are lots of women who be like, no, I'm not doing that. Forget that.
No, you're right though. You're right though, and I mean, again, that's the whole purpose of the subject, because it is an interesting thing that kind of really affects our community in particular, because of how in our particular community, black women are just really taught at an early age to be so fiercely independent and to do everything yourselves. And there's nothing wrong with, teaching our women to be strong. There's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. But are we doing it to an extent that it ruins the possibility of healthy relationships in the future? That is something that me and my friends talk about quite a bit, because, all of my single friends really struggle with certain types of relationship issues, and one of them being like, how do you go about navigating that minefield, that emotional minefield of gender roles, when you were raised to be a gentleman, but the modern era doesn't respect that? Like, maybe they just have bad luck. Maybe they're exposed to women who don't appreciate people who hold doors and say things like please and thank you, and give up their coat when it's cold, and all those chivalrous things that have been played out since the 2000s. But maybe that's something that we need to do better at. Maybe we need to teach everyone that these are important things, that even though it's from a bygone era, there's a reason why we did all that.
I mean, the reason was basically that you had the man who was going to work, and you had the woman who was at the house raising kids and either working in the home by doing laundry for other people or just working on stuff in the house. So, I mean, it's definitely outdated, but I think it's still important to a certain extent that the man still feels like a man. And so even though there are things that I can do, and that in the past we were married that I would do and didn't even give a second thought, I definitely will step back and defer to you. It's not making me weak, but it's just showing that I can appreciate my husband. And so that was definitely an evolution, because that's not how I was when we first got married. I would do it myself. I wouldn't do nothing for me. And so we definitely had some arguments, discussions, issues based on that, because I wasn't not trying to diminish you, but for me it was a matter of, let me not lose myself, let me not lose this strong black woman that I was raised to be by my mom and my dad. And so that was tough.
And that's again where I say that it is on the parents, because the thought process that you would lose who you are as a strong black woman by letting a man do something for you.
I mean, it sounds silly now that we're older, but that's how I thought in my 20s.
Well, I know, and that's what I'm trying to, communicate to our guests, is that this is the type of thing that as parents we've tried to eliminate from our children's futures. And it's just stuff that I would suggest that, you have talk with your significant other or your baby mama or your baby daddy or whatever your situation is, and talk about, how are you going to approach this type of thing with your kids? Like, are you going to teach your boys to be gentlemen? Or does that even matter anymore? Is that even relevant anymore? Maybe that's what's wrong with these boys nowadays, as it is. And we hear all these stories from our kids' school about these crazy kids. Maybe that's the reason why, because parents have given up on teaching their boys to be gentlemen because women don't respect it. Or maybe it's something that we need to teach our women to be more accepting and more demure and things like that. But then again, we do need more strong black women. We need more strong women in general. So it is kind of a touchy situation. It's interesting to see, as now that I'm a father of daughters, where I didn't have any sisters growing up, so I didn't grow up around girls like in the house like that, and seeing my daughters develop into young ladies. It's one of those things where I just realize how important it is that we demonstrate a healthy relationship, whether it's me doing dishes and me cooking dinner. We all know that I'm a really good cook.
You make some banging lasagna.
I make lots of good stuff.
I was getting ready to
yes, you can give me the credit for the lasagna, because it's known in the area that I make banging Italian food. But the point is that I think that that's a really important thing that myself and my wife embraced early on in parenthood, is that even though there are gender roles that are established, and we're not naive to what society puts in our children's faces every day, we made it a point that I'm going to do dishes, I'm going to do laundry, I cook sometimes, I clean the house. My wife fixes stuff around the house when she can. I know she's scared of the drill, but she'll do things. She'll do things like hanging up pictures and little tiny things that she can fix herself. She'll do, like she said earlier, she'll switch out a light bulb. And so I think that sort of thing is important for our daughters to see, that there really is not necessarily true gender roles, as much as it's just doing what needs to get done, making sure that everybody does what needs to get done so that the goal is met, and the goal is a successful household. So if I'm sitting here saying, well, I'm a man, so I ain't doing no dishes today, like, what kind of stupid foolishness is that? Like, and you have dirty dishes in your sink and all over your kitchen, and then when you wake up in the morning and you want a hot cup of coffee, you ain't got no clean coffee mugs because you was being lazy and didn't do dishes last night. That's your fault. You know what I'm saying? You can't sit here and say, oh, I'm a man, so I'm not going to do it. That don't make no sense. At the end of the day, it's about running a successful household. If that means that I got to do stuff that's seen as traditionally feminine roles, like cooking and cleaning and taking care of these babies, then so be it. That's what I'm going to do, because at the end of the day, having a successful household is more important than me feeling less than because I'm wiping crap off a baby's butt and putting powder in the pamper back on. Like, no, it's not like that. And I guess I realized that, how important that was early on. Like, I would say that I had one of those upbringings where it was very, very strictly defined gender roles, but my mom did work. And so I guess what I saw was someone who had to do basically everything. And that's not cool. That's not cool. Yeah, my dad fixed everything around the house, and he did anything that involved any physical labor until he couldn't anymore, and then I did it all. But the point is that my mom worked a full-time job, a good full-time job, and then still came home and cooked every single night. So, like, that's the type of thing that, like, while I know it's possible, that's not what I want for our daughters. And so that's why it is important, like you said earlier, that they see me cooking and cleaning and doing dishes and doing laundry.
Yeah, it definitely is important. And like now that I'm thinking back to high school and middle school, I'll give my dad credit because he did cook certain foods. He made chili. He made like a few other kind of things. He did do dishes. He did do laundry, but it definitely wasn't on the level of what you do. And so I am glad that I did see that to a certain extent growing up, because if I didn't, I would be like, that definitely wasn't right. And I would be like, okay, my husband better do this, he better do that. But for us,
I don't see the little sass and the neck motion she put on that. You better do this, and you better. Man, that was sassy.
Yeah, leave my sass alone. You can get but like for you, you didn't have to be, I guess, told or sassed, having the whole neck roll about do this, do that, because you already knew based on how you grew up. And I known you for a long time, and I did see how in your house it was definitely unbalanced. And I would never say anything because I was, on the outside, but I definitely saw that it was not a balanced kind of household sharing of the duties. And so like you already knew what's up. Like you knew that you didn't want to be like your father in that way.
No, you're right. And so that is kind of one of the reasons why I could say that I'm much more active in the house. But it's also one of those, and this is a stubborn thing, like I'm not an astrology expert, but I'm a Taurus, and people say I'm stubborn. I guess I live up to that because I am. And part of my thing about doing stuff around the house, and I admit to this fully, so I don't have anything to hide. Part of my reason for doing a lot around the house is because I want things done a certain way. Oh, I know that's bad, but it's true. Like, and I don't mean a certain kind of way, like I need things folded this direction or folded that direction. It's just like, it's one of those things also as part of my career. It's just like when you're in charge, you want things to go right. And so my thought process on why I'm so engaged in all of the interactions and operational functions of my house is because I want it to be right. It's not about it being my way as much as it's about being right. And so I guess I'm stubborn about it being right. I'm not necessarily stubborn about having my way, but I am stubborn about it being right, about doing the right thing.
And you bring up a good point, because there were certain things when we first got married, before we had kids, and even after we had kids, I wanted a certain way. If it wasn't that way, I would be pissed off. Either you could see it or you could just tell by how I was acting. So like example is like with towels. I've gotten over that a few years ago, but I wanted towels folded a certain way, put in the closet a certain way. And so when Jason would do laundry and do towels and sheets, I would either correct him and be like, no, fold it this way, or I would unfold it when he wasn't looking and then fix it myself. So I realized that that was a way that I'm showing you that I don't appreciate what you're doing, yet I'm still saying I appreciate what you're doing.
Right. Yeah, that was an issue. And then on top of that, I couldn't even put them on the towel rack properly. So that's why in our new house, I made sure we don't have towel racks. We have hooks. Ha! We're no marriage or relationship pros or the ultimate experts at whatever the subject is, but maybe we can shed some light on something that you've got going on. Send us an email to thelinguisticshow@gmail.com because we may have something to say about that.
So we do have a question, and it's about gender roles. And so this person, she has sons, and so she's asked, what's the biggest misconception about gender roles when you have someone who does not want to like really embrace it? And I guess she means her husband.
So are you saying that he doesn't want to embrace what gender roles are, or embrace what they used to be? I guess, or more specifically, I'm not sure who the anonymous caller is, but I kind of think I know who we're talking about here, just based on who we know. And
she's talking more about like when the man of the house does not want to be more progressive, and so like when he's stuck.
So then how do you approach that with your kids?
Yeah.
All right, so here's the thing with me, because I think that with me, the reason that I am so progressive on this sort of stuff in particular is because I had to live on my own. I had to live on my own, and I was also much older than my brother, which meant that I had a pretty large, sizable chunk of raising him myself, one-on-one, based on being left alone with him. So I had to learn how to cook. I had to learn how to do dishes. I had to learn how to do laundry. I had to learn how to take care of a baby. Like, those are things I just had to learn how to do as a teenager. So then also being on my own at like 19, 20 years old, like, I had to learn how to cook. I had to learn how to do my own laundry. I had to learn how to wash my own dishes. Like, I had to. Or if anybody ever came to my house, like this fine young chocolate thing across from me came to my little apartment and I had dirty dishes in there, like, that's embarrassing. Or dirty drawers on the floor. Like, I had to learn how to clean up my house and take care of myself. I mean, that's, I think, also one of the things that's different about nowadays than it was when, you know, we're talking about the late 90s, early 2000s when I was on my own. Nowadays, like, these kids can be on their own. They can pick up their phone and get any service they want directly to their house. Whereas for me, I had to do all this stuff myself. And so I say all that to say this. As far as raising sons, that's something I don't have experience with. But what I can say is that you have to explain to your sons the importance of being able to take care of themselves, because they're not always going to have a woman who wants to take care of their ugly asses. Like, let's be real. Let's be real. At some point, and this is usually what happens when you get to college, you realize that you don't know how to take care of yourself. How do I do my laundry? How do I not shrink my clothes? How do I cook? How do I clean? Like, a lot of people don't know this when they get to college and they realize, oh snap, my parents literally did everything for me. And so in this particular case, I would position it to my sons in that way. That, you know what? You need to learn how to do this because you need to learn how to take care of yourself, because I'm not going to be there to take care of you forever.
I like that.
See, man, I'm a good parent, man. Imagine that, man. I'm a good parent out here. But yes, that would be my thought process on that. You know, from a man's perspective, reiterate and reinforce to your sons that they need to know how to take care of themselves, because there will not always be someone there to take care of them. Not to mention that don't no woman want no man that don't know how to, you know, take care of himself. Like, don't nobody want. Some women are into charity cases, but a lot of, man, these women don't want no man that don't know how to take care of himself. They don't want no little boy.
Well, that's a good answer. So thanks for that advice, honey. And so hopefully she tunes in and there's a response to her question.
Yeah, we know who you are. So tell them boys to take care of themselves. They gotta learn how to take care of themselves. Grow up, or they're gonna be on their own, or they're gonna be living together. They're gonna be three of them living together as roommates with no girls in that house, because don't nobody want to come in their stinking house full of dirty laundry and dirty dishes and microwave food every night and pizzas every. Come on, man. Learn how to take care of yourself.
Now it's time to see if anyone had a light bulb moment or an aha moment today. So if you had a word or like a light bulb moment in our conversation today, what would it be, baby? Because I know what mine is.
Well, you had to have yours, because I don't necessarily have one. I can't say that I have a word other than your word that you mispronounced several times.
Paradoxical?
Kudos.
Oh, kudos. Okay. That's
kudos.
Anyhow.
Congratulations. Positive vibes. Kudos.
When we were talking about like the whole gender roles, I was thinking of this class I had. I think it was freshman or sophomore year. I forgot which year it was. And it was about a submissive wife. And so like that to me, it irked me, because I'm like, submissive wife, ain't gonna be doing that, because I wasn't married back then. But now that I am married and we do have girls, I do see that it's okay to be submissive, and it doesn't mean that the woman is gonna be weak or losing herself. So for me, it's about just letting go and giving in.
Say it again for the people in the back. It's actually not about giving in. See, that's like, I would say that that's the wrong whole mindset to take. It's not about giving up and giving in and letting go. That's not necessarily the vibes that we want to portray. It's much more about trust. It's about trust. It's not about giving in.
I didn't mean it in a bad way, but those are my opinions.
True. There are no wrong opinions. True.
Based on me reflecting on how it is to just not have to have it all your way. It doesn't mean that I'm less of a woman. It doesn't mean that you're less of a man.
Well, there you have it.
So thanks for joining us for this episode of The
Linguistic Show.
Don't forget to give us a rating or a review and subscribe or follow us wherever you get.
Man, click that button. Click that button. Subscribe, review, all that.
Tell some friends about us.
Tell a friend, tell a friend.
We're on Instagram. We're at Linguistics Show. That's a wrap, baby.
If you enjoyed this, like, comment,
subscribe, and share to the Linguistic Show.
This has been an Ashangali Enterprises production.
Co-produced by Naomi. Music by Brassville.